Hey guys, it's Steve from the Tech Buzz and the Retro Buzz, and I wanted to do this quick video because it's something I've been struggling with since I bought the product. As you can see, I'm down here in my game room. I purchased the Super Nintendo Classic, and one of the reasons I've been buying all these miniature classic machines, whether it be Nintendo or Super Nintendo or even the pre-order of the TurboGrafx 16, was I want to be able to load my ROMs onto this. Now, I don't want to put ROMs from Nintendo onto the Super Nintendo or Sega onto the Super Nintendo. I want to put all Super Nintendo ROMs onto the Super Nintendo system and have it just like I did when I was a kid, when I had all the different games and my brother and I, we used to play this. So, talking to Doug, Cool Toy, he told me about running HackG and using the internal storage, put about 120 150 games depending on how big they are, which is great if you don't want to go through all these types of games or be able to break it down. So then I did some Googling and I found ETA Prime had a video about how to use the micro USB in the back in order to hook up a USB thumb drive and get as many games as you want. So I dove into that. The problem I ran into was the machine would not see the USB thumb drive. Now, I consider myself pretty tech savvy. I consider myself somebody that can follow instructions on a video very well. And being somebody that's new to, I don't want to even call it hacking, but modifying a stock device, I've done my fair share of things in the past and even done a RetroPie, and I've also, done Hackintoshes in the past. So it really baffled me and it drove me nuts that I could not, for the life of me, get this to work. So I went out and I purchased a bunch of these different cables, the OTG cables. So if you're not familiar with what an OTG cable is, it's basically a device that allows you to plug power into, say, a cell phone, or in this case, the micro consoles, and also hook up a USB drive. One that I know worked was the one from ETA Prime, which is the right angle version, where this plugs into the back of your Super Nintendo Classic. Power comes out the back, and then underneath it is where the USB thumb drive plugs in. I had one laying around, so I thought I'd give it a go. Did not work. So I decided to go with another cheap cable, which is this Y cable. Again, people in the comments stated that it should work. They had no problems with it. I bought it. It came in a 2-pack, and it did not work. Then ETA Prime recommended this, what they call the Octopus cable, where it has a charge and an OTG switch on it that you have to make sure it's on OTG, but he did say that these kind of get rather brittle, and if you're going to be unplugging and plugging in a lot, you could break one. He recommends getting an additional one. So, I bought one of these, and it also didn't work. All these would provide power to my system, but would not read the USB thumb drive. Then I came across the video called Patton Plays, and he does a lot of these videos with modifying these devices, and I watched his tutorial. Well, lo and behold, that night on the Retro Buzz, Patton had been in the chat room and he saw the frustration that I had been having with this device, and so I want to give him credit where credit's due. He had suggested that when I told him the version of HackG that I was using, which was version 2, he suggested that I use the CE version 3 version of it because he said it's more stable, it's got more features, it's a lot more reliable. And I was like, dang man, I added all these ROMs already to the HackG 2. I put artwork in it. I mean, it was just like, man, there's 800 ROMs. I really didn't want to do that. So yesterday, I was waiting for a delivery because Patton had on his channel, this is the Octopus cable he uses. He had no issues with it. I watched his videos. Plugged it in and it worked. I bought it. It came. I plugged it in. Didn't work. So I'm like, there is no way with all these cables that everybody was recommending, that everybody said worked, was not working for me. Did I possibly have a Super Nintendo Classic that was not hackable or modifiable? Well, I found out that the problem was not in the cables or the Super Nintendo Classic. It was in the HackG version. So, thanks to Patton and his patience in working with me, and I encourage you to go subscribe to his channel, and I have the links in the description, as well as check up on newer tutorials, because otherwise you're going to run into the problem. I'm going to take you through how easy it was for me to get this modified and ready to go. So let's take you over to the computer. Okay, so first things you want to do is plug in your USB cable into your PC. Next thing you want to do is plug your micro USB cable into your Super Nintendo Classic. Do not turn the power on and just let it sit there. Alright guys, we're over at the PC here, and I want to show you what to do and what you need to do. The first thing we're going to do is open up the web browser. I'm going to open up here to YouTube. As you can see, this is Patton Plays. If you haven't checked him out, go check him out. I'll leave a link to his channel in the description. He was very helpful. And rather than reinvent the wheel, I'm just going to show you. He also has in his description the GitHub where to get the HackG CE. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to go and click on the link. I'll also have this link in my description. And you're going to download HackG CE 3.7. Okay. Once you download it, what you're going to do is you're going to download the installer. That's what I did. I didn't do the debug, and some of the guys that are really good at this type of stuff, you might want the debug mode, but I decided to just go with the installer version, which is HackG 3.7. Okay, so once you do that and you install it, I mean, it's pretty cut and dry. I don't need to show you to install it. I had it installed in my program files, and it's going to be under Team Shinkansen. So once you do that, you double click the folder, open it up, you'll see HackG 2CE, and down here you'll see the HackG icon. It looks like a regular Nintendo icon. I just copied and pasted it and put it right here on my desktop, and then I drug the icon down to my toolbar, because usually I don't have icons on my desktop. I don't like to do that, but I'm doing it for this demonstration purpose first. Okay, so once you do that, okay, what you're going to do is you're going to open HackG. The first thing that you're going to want to do once this is open is you're going to want to come up to the kernel, and you're going to click on kernel, and what you're going to do is you can check all these different options out done under advanced. What I like to do, I like to go down, this is how it was in version 2, where you dump the original kernel. I did that here in this one. You don't have to do that, but I dumped the original kernel, and what it does is just basically it dumps the image file of what was on your Super Nintendo Classic, you know, before any modifications happen. You don't have to do it. It internally will kind of have like a RAM where it pulls it from if you need it, but I did it for safekeepings, and I put it right here on my desktop, as well as I put it up in Dropbox. But the first thing you're going to want to do is you want to click install, and it's going to say, do you want to flash the custom kernel? You say yes. So the first thing it's going to do is it's going to give you the instructions of what to do. Plug in the USB cable from the Mini, which we already did. Turn the power switch to the on position, and then what you do is you hold reset. They're saying you plug in the USB cable. I suggest following their instructions. It just, for me, it was easier to plug the USB cable in, hold the reset button, and turn the power on. But either way, this will work. You must use the cable that comes with the Super Nintendo Classic. Don't just grab your Ring doorbell cable, which is identical, except it does not have the data transfer capabilities. It will just do charge. So keep that in mind. Do not use anything but the cable that comes with it. Once you do that, you'll see this progress bar start moving, and it'll flash the custom kernel. When it's done, it's going to say, do you want to add games? You could say yes or no. And what you do is you put a check mark here on the box for the games that you want. So like, I have a ton of all my Super, and we're not going to go through that. That's it. Once you do that and you want to flash it to the system. Now, what if you want to add a USB? What if you want to add a USB, say, thumb drive to your box? Well, you plug the USB thumb drive into your computer, and it's as simple as click the export to USB. You don't even have to have your system connected to your PC. You just simply click that export, you find your thumb drive, which I don't have one currently on here, and then you would click OK. It'll probably take you a good half hour, for if you have as many games as I do, to fill that up. Once that's done, go back, plug it in your dongle, and hook it up to your TV, and it'll boot right up. Now, there's other cool options in here that I found just by poking around it. And I want to stress, guys, I am no expert in this. It's just something I figured out yesterday. Patton knows more about it than I do. And like I said, he was tremendous help in this. But under some of these menu systems here, you can choose, like, if you want the console or the name. Some people are putting more than one console on this console. But these are some of the settings that I have checked. Convert SNES ROMs to SF-ROM. It just, by compressing some of these down, it gives you more room. As you can see, I probably have less than a gig on here, and I've got almost 1,000 games on here. Compress box art when adding. That's something else that you can do, and I'll show you that in a second. I disabled the hack-G pop-ups. I don't want to have all that nonsense popping up on my system. Separate games for multi-boot. I put a check mark next to that. And use linked sync. Also down here, disabled epilepsy protection. So once you set the settings that you want, click Save Settings to the Mini now. But you have to have the Mini plugged in to the computer. Okay. Now, over here under Tools, there is some other things that you can do, which I thought was really cool. When you first boot it up, it says hack-G. I changed the boot to a Super NES boot screen, and in here, you could do that by simply clicking Change Boot Screen, and it wants you to connect. It gives you the instructions: connect your Mini to the PC with the USB cable, turn it on, and then what will happen is an Explorer type window pops up, and you will then be able to choose wallpaper. I use the 720p one, but you can do 1080 if you so choose. That's something that you can grab from within there. There's also a Discord channel. I believe it's linked under here under the help. If you need any assistance, you can go to that. But some of those other options are really, really good. One of the things that I like to do with this is I created folders. Inside of the folders, I wanted to separate game storage. But let me go back to that. So what I like to do here is I like to put a checkbox, and I'm all the way down here to the bottom. Hold Shift, select it, and while I'm holding Shift, I put a check mark. So that selects all of them, so I can get all the games on there that I want. But one of the things that you can do is you can create a bunch of folders that you want, so that way you can have all your games inside of a folder, which I think is really cool. So when you let me get off of that. When you click Structure, it gives you right here. What I went into is I did Custom, use folders to manage. So I'm going to click again so you can see it. What I chose to do is I chose to put all the games in alphabetical order. So each of the games that begin with A are going to be under A and B. So that way when you're on the system, if you know you want to play Super Mario Brothers, you can just go down to the S folder and look for Super Mario Brothers or Super Mario World or Super Mario All-Star, whatever, Super Mario Kart. This I've found personally to be the easiest way to do this when you have this many games. But you can do that underneath here. It's under Structure. So now earlier we talked about artwork. So what you can do here is let's just click, these are custom ROMs that I added. It fills out all this information and even the artwork. When I click Google, what will happen is you can select all of them at once and have it download artwork. And let's say you don't like the artwork that it finds, you can come in here and say, oh, you know what, I want this artwork instead, or I want this one, or this one looks better, and you could choose it by you just double click on it and it puts the artwork in there. But
let's say you have 800 games and you don't want to go through all that. Highlight the top one, go all the way to the bottom, highlight the last one, right click on it, and here's where you scan for new box art for selected games, download box art for selected games, or delete box art for selected games. So you can actually do everything all at once. Now it will take some time. I think it took me close to 25 minutes to do 800 games, depending on how quickly it finds them. And you do have to go through some of them. It just puts like a poster image, but I actually wanted the actual box art. So that's just a rundown of how this works. And once you're done with that, you should be able to plug it into the system and see what it looks like. So now I plugged in my Super Nintendo Classic, and as you can see, that's the splash screen I went with. I think it's fitting for what it is. And as you can see, I have all my games that are in here, especially the last. I was in S last time, but I'm going to go back out to my main folders here so you can kind of see. There is a pile of folders here. Let's go back out. Let's get to the letters. Here's your letters. So any game that you're thinking of, if we go to like Z for Zelda, I think it would be under Z, or it might be under T for The Legend of Zelda. But we can go under that, or Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Yeah, it's probably under T. So you can go into any one of these, and it has all your games in there. You can also, and I didn't get to show you this, but you can also set a hotkey. That's why it's mainly a good idea to go through some of those options that are in there, because I set a hotkey for Start Select to get out of the system. So let's go. If I go into Tecmo Super Bowl, I'll just grab this one as a main game. You can see it's just a random game I just picked, and it's working fine. It's pulling it up. Now I'm not going to sit here and play the game, but I kind of want you guys to see that it does work. This is a game. I also, for this game, inside of the Super Nintendo console, I put that as the frame. I don't like seeing the black bars, so if I just choose preseason, man versus computer, and of course I'm going to get flack for this, but I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, so I'm going to choose the Dallas Cowboys. We'll just do clear. I haven't played this in years. My brother and I, this is one of our favorite games, Tecmo Super Bowl. So there you have it. So I'm going to back out of this, and Start Select gets it back. You get your restore point, and that's pretty much it, guys. And everything works. I plugged in the adapter. Everything works perfect. I just went through 2 days of frustration after buying these cables, as well as frustration with doing this on the show. So over a week. So I wanted to share this information. I hope you liked the tutorial.
Okay, guys. Well, there you have it. That was the breakdown of the tutorial. And I apologize that I didn't go through the whole hacking process with you, but honestly, it takes so long for it to go through because I have so many games. So you follow this tutorial, it's cut and dry, and I'll even put links to all these that I had purchased. You decide which one that you want. Honestly, it's a good idea to buy two, because Patton says in one of his videos that sometimes the Octopus ones can become fragile. ETA Prime has stated that sometimes the data transfer is not fast on some of those. I have gone with just the Y cable that you saw earlier in this video. That's what I'm using, and these are just used as backup. I tried every single one, so I know all of them work, and I will link them in the description below so that you can buy the one that you want. It's under 10 bucks. I just hope this is a reconfirmation of some of you guys out there that stay by your guy that does tutorials, that sometimes you have to look at other tutorials because technology changes every time. And so when new versions of software come out, newer ways to do things, newer support for things, and it just works. So again, I hope you subscribe and stay tuned for more great videos here at the Tech Buzz. Until next time, keep it buzzing.